Hey guys, welcome back to Easy Eats. I know, it's been a minute. The last video that we did together, we made in February, which we made the honey walnut shrimp, and on it turned out so amazing. So diving into summer, because we all know this heat is not going anywhere, I thought it was fitting to make something in preparation for the 4th of July holiday. So today, join me in making some pulled pork sandwiches. I'm gonna make them two different ways, and then some delicious potato salad. So I actually made this potato salad Memorial Day weekend a couple weeks ago, and it was such a hit. So I hope you enjoy, and let's get cooking. Alright y'all, so let's go ahead and start with the preparation of the pulled pork. So you can definitely buy your rub at the grocery store. I personally like to make my own, but to each its own. If you want to skip this step, kind of save you some time, definitely skip it. They sell some wonderful rubs at the store. However, I'm going to jump in. I'm going to go ahead and make mine. So what I have right here is light brown sugar. So I have about a cup of this. Go figure, me making actual measurements. I know, don't judge me. So we have about a cup of brown sugar in there, and then we have ground mustard. So you're gonna put probably about a teaspoon or so in there. Again, I like to eyeball everything. So there we go. We got about a tablespoon of that. And then of course we're gonna put some coarse sea salt, and it's okay to put the it looks like it's a lot of salt, but it's really not, because by the time all the flavors and everything mesh together, it's really not going to be too salty. And again, this is just going on the exterior of the pork. So we're going to do the same thing with our powdered onion. So we're going to do about a tablespoon of that. And then same thing with our powdered garlic. And then I like some heat in mine, so you can definitely put some cayenne pepper in here. I like the crushed red peppers. So you can, if you're not a spice person, then I would probably just skip this step. And then we have some paprika. So again, you're probably going to do like a tablespoon and a half of the paprika. And this, if you can find this is definitely a wonderful buy. I got it from Trader Joe's. It's a mix of herbs, and this one has thyme, savory rosemary, basil, sage, and lavender. So this alone, this kicks up the taste level on this 110%. So I'm gonna do probably, so this little guy right here is about a teaspoon, so I'm gonna do about a full tablespoon of that. And then you're going to add your pepper. As simple as that. Then you mix this guy up right here. And for those who haven't really cooked with brown sugar, it does clump up sometimes, and that's okay. Because once you put it in and the liquid hits it, it's gonna melt it down. So there we go. We have our rub for the pulled pork. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna pull our pork out now, and then we're gonna rub this down. All right, now down to the good stuff. So here I have a pork shoulder butt. This is bone in. I prefer to cook things with the bone in, because that bone that's in there is going to give it so much more flavor. So underneath it, I just have simple parchment paper, because when you're gonna rub this down, it can get a little messy. So this kind of makes for easier cleanup. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to start to pour it over it. And then once you start pouring over it with your clean hands, don't forget that, you're just gonna start rubbing it, and you're just gonna start patting it down. Then you're gonna flip it over. And this is the side, this is the fat side. This is the side that I like to put down at the bottom. If the fat that's on your pork shoulder, If it's way too thick, just trim a little bit off. But that fat that's on there is going to definitely add, you know, add a lot of flavor. So you're gonna want to make sure that you're gonna get every single side of this. Just gonna pour it on there. Let a good rub down, and that's exactly why this is called a rub, because you're just basically massaging your pork before it goes in. Then you're gonna make sure it's coated on all the sides, and you'll start to see as the rub starts to set in, it's gonna start turning kind of almost like a translucent color, because the mixtures of the liquid that is on this is going to mix with it, and it's just going to start setting. And what this is going to do is it's going to help caramelize it as well, to kind of give that thicker skin that's on the outside of the pulled pork. Since of course we're doing this in a slow cooker, because you know in apartment living we can't really, you know, smoke anything like that. You can also do this in the oven. I just really like the way that how tender it is when it comes out of the slow cooker, and you know, it's all nice and juicy. So now we're gonna make the sauce that's actually gonna go into our crock pot, and then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add our pork butt back in there. All right, y'all, so now it's time to make the sauce that's actually gonna be going in here. So to my measuring cup, I have beef broth. So you're just gonna give that a shake, and we're probably going to do about half a cup to a cup of beef broth. You don't want to put too much liquid in there, because the pork shoulder is actually, it's going to make its own broth once that fat starts cooking down and the juices start to leave the pork shoulder. So to there I added about 3/4 cup, and then you're going to, with the barbecue sauce of your choice, you're probably going to put about whatever that measurement is. Again, y'all, I count things. I don't, you know, I'm not a good measurer. And then we're just gonna put a couple sprigs of Worcestershire sauce. Y'all don't judge me. It's one of those words. So we're gonna add that in there. We're probably gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shakes of those. And again, this stuff is super salty, so you don't want to overdo it. And then this is a fun trick and hack that I've learned. So this is for pot roast, but HEB sells a lot of these pre-bagged marinades that, you know, you can make carne asada with, you know, all kinds of different things. But even though we're not making a pot roast, I'm just going to add a little bit of this, because this has so much flavor, because we're not going to be adding anything in here as far as salts go and seasonings, because again, that pork roast that we have in there already has all of that. So I'm just gonna add this just as a little kick in there. All right, because this has all like the onions, the mushrooms, everything, the carrots, everything that's good inside of there. Now the fun part of this is you're gonna add Coke. So the first time I heard of this, I was like, I'm not adding Coke. Like that seems disgusting. And then I'm like, you know what, let me try it. I tried it, and it makes a world of difference. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me what it does. I can't even tell you, but this just, it's a game changer. Now, some people, I've seen them do it with Dr. Pepper. I am not a Dr. Pepper fan. I don't need any booze. But yeah, so we're just gonna add about half the can of Coke in there. And now for the glory. Liquid smoke. Liquid smoke, y'all, is, again, for us who live in apartment living, we can't go outside and we can't smoke things. So this, you can buy different. They have, this one is mesquite. You can get all kinds of different liquid smokes. So this really makes it taste like you just threw it in the smoker. So you're just gonna put it in there, and you could smell this right away, like right when you put it in. What I have done in the past as well is I make something similar to this, skip the pot roast addition that's in there, and if you have a turkey injector, you can mix it up and inject it right on the inside, let it sit overnight, and it's honestly, it is so amazing. So we're gonna give this a good mix, because again, we have our barbecue sauce there down at the bottom, sorry y'all. All right, and again, this makes just a little under 2 cups. So you don't want to do it over that, because once this starts cooking and the juices start going, it's going to create its own. So you don't want to overflow it, and you want to kind of keep as much as that flavor in there so it's not completely watered down. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add this into our slow cooker. All right, y'all. So now in here I have our pork just chilling out in its home. So the good thing about this is, you know, if you're pre-planning for a party, or you know, you have a busy schedule, you know, a lot like us, you know, we really don't have time to, you know, by the time we get home, we're mentally exhausted, you know, we really don't want to cook, right? So the good thing about this is you can make this a day in advance and just, you know, put it in the refrigerator before you turn it on the crock pot, before you leave to work in the morning. Go ahead and set it on low, and you're just gonna let it cook the whole entire day, right, while you're at work. Now, if you're kind of, you know, you're off and you're in a rush, you can cook this on a high for 4 hours. So we're gonna let this slow cook for the whole day. But what we're gonna go ahead and do is we are going to add our mixture that we just did. So I'm gonna pour this all around the edges, because I don't want to take that, all of that deliciousness that we put on the top. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. And again, that's the perfect level, because you're not even halfway with the liquid that's in there, because by the time this is done, y'all, this liquid's gonna be about up to this line right here. So again, you don't wanna overflow your crock pot. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna turn this on, and I'm just gonna let it cook all day, and then we'll be right back. So let's get started on my favorite part, potatoes. So I'm a potato guy, y'all. I love me some potatoes. The potatoes that I'm gonna be using today are gonna be the Yukon Gold. You can use any potato, you know, that you personally like, you know, whether it's red potatoes, any potatoes will work for this. I just personally, I really like the texture of these. I like the way that they hold up, especially going into potato salad. You're gonna use different potatoes for different things, but again, to each its own, potato, right? So another thing, when you're gonna be boiling your potatoes, first of all, you're gonna start off with cold water. Second is, a lot of us have done this. I'm guilty of this as well. A lot of people will chop up their potatoes before they actually put it in the water to boil. If you're in a time crunch and that's just something you need to do super quick, cool, have at it. However, what happens is when you slice these potatoes, they become what they call waterlogged. So what that is these are basically, they're gonna absorb all that water, and you're gonna lose a lot of that potato taste. So what happens when you're boiling these is it doesn't really absorb the water. Why? Because the skin is intact on this. So once they're done boiling, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna take them off of the heat, and then I'm gonna run it under cold water. You can put it in an ice bath if you like. Then once they cool down to a cool enough temperature, then a lot of this skin is gonna, you know, peel off on its own. I will peel some of these, I won't peel all of them. But again, I'm not gonna do that until the potatoes are actually done being cooked. So now while we have our potatoes cooking, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna make the sauce that goes over the potato salad. So the amount that I'm making today is if you're hosting an event. Now, if you're going to make this, you know, just for dinner, you know, family dinner, things like that, and you really don't want any much left over, so you're gonna cut everything in half. As far as measurements of everything. Yes, I'm using measurements, I know. So first we're gonna start off with sour cream. So I have a tub here of 16 ounces of sour cream. So 16 ounces is equivalent to 2 cups. So we're gonna go ahead and we're just gonna pop that right in here. And then we are going to do 2 cups of mayo. finish this one off. So good thing I bought another one just in case. Ta-da! We're just gonna add that in. Make sure it all adds up to 2 cups. And there we go. We got about our 2 cups of mayo. So we're gonna go ahead and we're just gonna scoop that right on in. So things like this, of course, you know, like I always joke around that I don't like to measure anything like that, but with things like this, of course, you know, we kind of have to. So what's next is going to go in here is some Dijon mustard. Now you can use yellow mustard if you'd like. I personally like the taste of Dijon mustard just a little more, so we're going to do about, let's eyeball it, so that's 1, 2, so about 2 tablespoons of some Dijon mustard that's in there. Next we are going to grab 2 garlic cloves and we're going to press that right in. For those who know me, know how much I love my garlic press. I use garlic in pretty much almost everything that I cook. Right on. So next we are going to have 2 celery stalks that are washed. So you're going to cut the bottoms off and the tops as well. And then what I do is I slice it right down like that, just to make it a little smaller. And then some people like chunky. I personally, there's certain things I like things that are chunky in, but I'm going to cut these rather small. Get these big pieces out. And I know it seems like a lot of steps for y'all, but this is honestly, this is so amazingly delicious. Again, it's super easy. You can make this a day before. Everything that I'm pretty much making, you can make a day before. And if you are going to be making this in advance, what I do highly recommend is you keep the sauce separate from the potatoes, because again, if you combine them all and leave it overnight, leave it sitting, it's going to absorb a lot. And that's why things taste different the next day. Some things taste better overnight, some things really don't. These are one of those. So right here I have some fresh dill, which y'all know I love. I'm going to cut the bottoms off. And then this one, you're just going to run the knife through it. I absolutely love the smell of fresh cut dill. And it looks like a lot, but you're going to thank me for it. Alright, so we have our dill cut super fine. I'm going to add that in. Next, we have our chives. So you're going to do the same thing. You're going to cut them super little. Add that in. And then what you can do as well, so I like to chop my own olives, but you can buy them already pre-chopped. I couldn't find them in this, normal situation. This is supposed to be easy eats, right? But I couldn't find any chopped ones at my local H-E-B, so I just went ahead and I chopped my own. So this is just a whole can. So I'm just gonna add that in there. And again, if there's certain things that you don't like, there's a lot of people who don't like red onion, for instance. You can leave stuff like that out. However, I do not discriminate against food unless it is green bell pepper. Green bell pepper can go away. Alright, so I am going to we're gonna chop this. And again, if you're an onion lover and you want to taste all that, do them big. Go big or go home, right? So the way that I'm gonna do this, I wanna make sure that in every bite that you take, that you get a little bit of everything. And sometimes when things are too big, you can't really taste everything. Throw that in there. All right, so before we get to those eggs, I have flat leaf Italian parsley. So, how much am I gonna need of this? I think that's good. So I just got a handful of the bunch, and I'm just gonna roughly chop this. This doesn't really have to be as thin as the other things. It's more so just for the taste and garnish. And then now we got our jumbo sized lemon. Love lemon. So then we're just going to squeeze the juice of half a lemon, a large lemon, or if you have a small lemon, do one whole. So I'm gonna get all of this incorporated now. You can hear my potatoes going over here. So I'm just gonna slowly start mixing this up. Getting it super incorporated. Ah, man, y'all, we're not done yet. I completely forgot. We have pickles and pickle juice to add in here. So as you can see, that starts to come together. It really kind of resembles tzatziki sauce. And what I highly recommend as well is taste this before you add any salt and any pepper. All right. So what we're gonna do now is I have my pickles, and I'm probably just gonna add, I really only added about a tablespoon of pickle juice. So now you're gonna get your pickles. I like these baby pickles to go in something like this. So again, I'm just gonna slice these guys right down the middle. And if you're not a pickle lover, you don't have to do pickles, you don't have to do the pickle juice, just replace the juice for vinegar. You can do apple cider vinegar, regular white vinegar if that's what you like. I personally like the pickles. And if you're really in a time crunch, you can just put relish. Then it's about time that we check our potatoes, so we don't want to overcook them. So pretty much when your potatoes are done cooking, you're gonna want to either stick a fork or a knife in it, and you're gonna want a little bit of give, which I will show you here in a second. But we're probably just going to move these guys around, just see how they're doing. Yeah, so they still have some time, which is good. So now we're going to work on our eggs. Lost the yolk. So again, you can have these super chunky, you can have them super thin, you can take the yolk out if you're not a yolk person. Make this yours. And that's pretty much what I did with mine. I don't like to follow specific recipes. I always like to play with them, make it my own. Alright, so I got all this right here now, so I'm just gonna go through it with my knife and just give it a really rough chop. When it comes to the eggs, you don't really, eggs really aren't presented, right? So just make sure you chop it to the desired bite size that you want. There, I think we're good with that. So we're just gonna toss these bad guys in here. Then we're done with the cutting part of it. So now you're gonna fold everything in. Now this looks so good. Okay, so we're gonna give this a taste test. It doesn't even need salt. So now I will add some pepper. You really get to taste all those flavors. Everything just marinated and blended so well with this. So we got some paprika now. I'm just gonna load up the top with that. Again, as much as your heart desires. And we're just gonna mix this up. And boom, y'all. There you go. There's our delicious sauce that goes on top of our potato salad. So you have a little combination, a little bite size. See what I mean? Everything is bite size. So when you pour this over the potatoes, you're not getting those huge clumps. You're getting a little bit of everything all in one bite. And there we go. So we're gonna wait for our potatoes to be done. Once our potatoes are done, then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna assemble everything as far as the potato salad goes. And then we're gonna work on some coleslaw that's gonna go on top of the pulled pork sandwiches because that pork is smelling delicious and it's almost done. So now moving on to our homemade coleslaw. You can buy it already pre-made at H-E-B, they sell it in packets. However, again, everything to me is just better homemade. So in this one, it is going to take specific ingredients, specific instructions as far as the measurements. So we're going to do half a cup of mayo, half a tablespoon of honey, 1 tablespoon of either apple cider vinegar, pickle juice, or regular vinegar of your choice. Since I already am using pickles, I might as well just, utilize the vinegar that I have. 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard, and salt and pepper. And then I just already bought the pre-cut classic coleslaw from H-E-B. But again, if you want to chop up your own coleslaw and make it, completely 100% homemade, then by all means do it. So right here we have our half a cup of mayo. Then we're gonna add in, so I did this one, I did about half an ounce of the pickle juice. We're gonna do 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard. For good luck. We're gonna do the juice. This is a really big lemon, so you're gonna only do just a little bit. You're probably gonna do about a teaspoon. And then we have our honey, so we're gonna do a tablespoon of honey. Add in our pepper. And then go light on the salt at first. Because you can always add more. It's super hard to take it away. So we're gonna get this, make sure this is all combined. You're gonna make sure it's nice and smooth. And for those who like the super sweet coleslaw, you can add some sugar in there or just do a little more honey. I like my coleslaw to be a little more rustic. So we're gonna taste it. You could just use a little more salt. Other than that, that tastes perfect. So take the whisk out of here, and then we're gonna dump in our coleslaw. So I'm gonna do about half a bag first, just to see how well it coats it. Grab our tongs, and you're just going to toss it. There we go, y'all. As we say in my language, it's muy delicioso. This looks so good. I could probably add the whole bag. So if you're making this, go ahead and just throw in the whole bag. If you like it a little more saucier, then I would only do half the bag. But I think we made enough sauce to kind of coat all of it. And we're almost at the finish line, y'all. There we go. And our potatoes are done. So now they're cool to the touch, and like I mentioned, see how easy it is to peel that skin off. So if you are somebody who does not like the skin on them, again, I love the skin. I'm just gonna do this down the center right here, and you could really, I mean, how am I gonna do this? Let's see. See, and then when you chop it too, sometimes the skin comes off too, but that's not a bad thing. So I'm just gonna chop it like that, just so that they're bite-sized pieces. So your pieces are gonna come out kind of chunkier. But again, when I start cutting this, I just kind of get a little creative with it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do some small pieces. Okay, I'm gonna do some big pieces. So it just really depends on your family, how they like it, how you like it, and pretty much, you know, however you want to make it your own. You know, if you can cut it into triangular pieces, cut it into triangular pieces. Just make this yours, exactly how you want it. Alright, so now that we have our potatoes completely chopped up, now we can add this deliciousness all on top. So I'm going to do little by little, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it in. You're not going to want to mix this, because then you're going to have some crazy mashed potatoes. Okay, so just fold it in. And see, and this is what this is used for. Not for making ground beef. I don't know why people use it for that. So we're just going to fold it. And continue to go. I'm making a mess while I'm doing this. Alright, so I'm going to keep folding this in, and next we will do the pulled pork, because it is done. Who's ready for some delicious pork? This is finally done. So when you can pull the bone out like that, you know it's tender. So good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to separate these into two different bowls. Once I separate it into two different bowls, then we'll go from there and see exactly how to do this. So for this first one, we're going to make a standard pulled pork sandwich. Right, so those who just like, you know, plain barbecue, things like that. So here I separated the pork into two different bowls. So this, easiest way to do it, you get two forks and you just start pulling it apart. Now some people like their pork to be in big pieces, some like it super shredded. Shred it however you want. The majority of the time, once you start mixing it, it's gonna fall apart on its own. So, and this is, I mean, this is doing a great job falling apart. This cooked perfectly. You could you could smell it throughout my whole house. So it's my poor dog. She's been over here drooling, coming to the kitchen, putting her nose up to it. She knows what's up though. All right, so see how easy that shredded. Yeah, still got some big pieces here. All right, so that is all shredded now. So what we're gonna do now is we're going to pour barbecue sauce. And for those who don't really like a lot of sauce, the next one it's 100% for you. So we're gonna get that all incorporated, mix it up. Gosh, it smells so good. And I can't even eat pork, that's the sad part. But we're gonna add a little more. I lied to you, maybe a lot more. And there you go. That's a simple, delicious looking pulled pork right there. So that's the first one down. So now for the second one. So in my other bowl, I already got it shredded up for y'all. So remember in the beginning we had made that rub that went on the top of this? So what we're gonna do is we're just going to pour little by little over this, because what's gonna happen now is all of those juices, like before, it's gonna create its own sauce. So those who aren't like super in love with the whole, you know, drenched in barbecue sauce, this is probably a route for you. Now what I did do also was I mixed 2 different barbecue sauces for this one that we're just gonna drizzle over the top just to get that barbecue flavor, which I'll go a little more into detail. So we're just gonna make sure that this is just super well incorporated. Mix it up. Gosh, this smells amazing, and it's not only because I cooked it. All right, so now this is all seasoned, all ready to go. And this is my take on this one, because I do come across those people who don't like sauce. Breaks my heart, because sauce is everything. But this is what it's gonna look like once it's done, because again, all that fat that was sitting at the bottom and all that juice that it had, you know, produced, it mixed really well with this. So it gives such a good flavor. So you actually get to taste the pork rather than more barbecue sauce. So I guess I kind of get it, you know, when people, you know, they're like, oh, I don't really like pulled pork because, you know, it's too much barbecue sauce and, you know, everything. So this is another alternate. So this is great. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna get the sliders plated, we're gonna plate this, and we're gonna get everything set up, and then we will have it done. The moment has arrived. The moment we have all been waiting for. So here, guys, normally, you know, you can do big buns on this. I'm making sliders because, again, I'm showing you guys how to, you know, kind of do something for an event, right? So what we're gonna do here is we have our classic right here, which we're gonna put like that. Oops. There we go. Okay, and there goes our classics, right? So that wonderful coleslaw that we made, we are going to grab some, put it right on top. There we go. Let me rinse off my tongs real quick. Then you're just gonna place that right on top right there. So another fun, cool, easy hack is onions. So so these onions you can buy at HEB. They're originally for salad toppers, but I like having the crunchy onion on mine, and it goes hand in hand with how this one is, because it's, you know, it's a little different, and a lot of people, they don't expect it when they eat it for it to be that delicious with those onions on top. If you want to fry your own onions, by all means, you know, have at it if you have the time for that. But again, this is easy eats, not complicated eats. So we're gonna put that right there. Getting messy with it. I like it. So then we're gonna get our onions, place it right on top. There you go. And like I had mentioned earlier, so I mixed 2 different barbecue sauces. I did a Carolina and a Memphis, and I mixed it up because why? I don't like everything being the same. You got to make it your own. So when it comes to that, you just drizzle it over the top. Boom, boom, boom. And there you guys have it. There are your pulled pork sandwiches. So I'm gonna get this all cleaned up, get the potato salad out. We're gonna get it all presented, and I'll see you guys in a bit. So here we have it. Another dinner down. So here we have our delicious potato salad, and then we have our pulled pork sliders done in 2 different ways. I really hope that y'all enjoyed this, and I look forward to cooking another meal with you soon.